Join me for a craft along today, and we'll put together this cute little pocket folder using 3 envelopes. Hi everyone, it's Jean from the Inky Owl Studio. So glad I have time to spend with you today. It's a very rainy and dreary day here in Florida. We don't get too many of those days, but it is really dreary today. So I'm going to cheer myself up with a little craft project, and this will be a little craft along. And what we're going to do is put together this cute little folders. There's a pocket back here, and there's a pocket there. It flips out. There's a pocket there, a pocket all around these different places. So there's like 6 places to put a pocket in, and then it goes together with a little button, string and button. So let's get started. I'm going to be using 3 envelopes. Now it does not matter what size your envelope is because I will give you a way to measure for the papers and everything. But my envelopes here are, let me see here, are 4 3/8 by 5 3/4 is the size of my envelope. So, but again, you can use any size. And the first thing I'm going to do, oh, and also we're going to be using a brad and a circle punch, small circle punch, about 11 inches of a string or a twine. This is a cording, this is hemp cording. I usually use that. And, and scrap papers and glue. I think that is all I can think of. So the first thing I want to do is I want to cover this part of the folder right away, and that's this flap that comes down here. Now your flap may be a long one because your the flap may be like a rectangle, but mine is a little triangle flap here. It doesn't matter, but that's what mine is. So because it is a triangle, it would be a lot easier if I just traced it out on paper. So we're going, I'm using, and I'm also using just plain scrapbook paper, not heavy, just plain regular paper. And so what I do is I trace it out here in a little triangle, and I'm going to trace it down just a little bit below the seam or the fold line here. I'm going to make sure my paper comes down below that just a little bit, and trace around the triangle, and we'll be cutting that out. And you'll need a piece that goes on the inside of your flap and a piece that goes on the outside. So I've already cut the outside one, and I cut it basically the same way as I just showed you. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this out and glue these two together. So I have my front and back pieces all cut out. Before I glue down the front, I want to put down my cording. So I'm just going to put it down like so, coming off of that tip. And I'm going to tape it down with a piece of masking tape, just to make sure that it will hold quite nicely there. Alrighty, and then I'll be ready to glue down my front flap. And so we'll just do that really quick here. And I also went ahead and distressed all around all the envelopes, all the different sides. If that is what you're into, I would do that now. Alrighty, and then you can kind of check to see if you need to trim off this top part, because when you trace things and then put them on to the original, usually it's a little larger because you're always adding just a fraction of an inch each time you trace around something, just a little bit. So sometimes you have to do a little trimming. Okay, make sure I get that down. And then for this piece, for the one that goes inside, you will have to trim it down even further because it needs to slip in to the inside like this. So you can see there's a little buckling here that is going on. So you're going to need to take off a little bit on the edge. Each edge needs to come off a little bit so that you can slip it down inside easily. There we go. Just like that. Okay, and the reason you got to line the inside is because there's usually glue here along the envelope, and you don't want that glue just to sit there, because over time, with moisture and everything, it can glue itself shut. And we'll just stick that inside like so. Okay, I guess I probably over trimmed it there a little bit on the side, but it'll be all right. I'll just add a little bit more distressing on the edges. Okay, there. Now we kind of got rid of, I see I need to do a little trimming right here. Sometimes, like I say, when you trace things, it does get a little larger. And so we covered up that seam because we need to make a new one. And this new fold needs to include all of your stuffed ephemera and everything you put into it. So you need to go a little bit. So the original fold is probably like around right here is the original fold in this area. You're going to need to come out about a 1/4 of an inch and make a new score line. So the edge, I'm figuring the edge is right here by the edge of this piece. Sticking that right up here on an even number and coming down a 1/4 of an inch and making a new fold line. And this way it will, now it doesn't have to be like a real, it just needs to be able to curve. It doesn't have to be super flat. You don't need to burnish it. It just needs to have a bit of a curve there so that your ephemera, as you build it up, will start to make it bigger. Well, I don't know if I'm explaining myself well here. So because you can see that you start building it up, you've got a little bit of bulk here that's happening. So kind of need to move that fold line a little bit to compensate for that. All right, so that is finished. And I see here that I should have cut this down a little further. Yeah. The inside one I did, but this one maybe I didn't do as well. Okay. But it'll be all right. We're going to be putting paper over that area. All right, so that part is finished. Now we're going to glue our envelopes together. So I want this envelope to go, the flap to go behind the first one, like so, and make sure that it'll fold well. And then this one, the flap is going to go on the top side. So this flap will go on the bottom, and this is going to go on the top of this one. And we'll just simply come in here and glue this up so we get it all the way in. And I'm just making sure that this still folds over nicely and it doesn't get hung up. And we're going to do the flap on this side. Just like so. I'll put it down so that it's even, but I want to wrap it around to make sure that it folds down nicely. All right, so now this is essentially help us to unfold pretty easily that way. And that's why I put the flaps the way I did, so that it's just naturally bends in that direction. All right, so now that we've got this finished, I am going to cut out my papers. Now for my papers, I am cutting out 4 panels that are 1/4 of an inch smaller than my envelope. So whatever size envelope you have, you want to cut it like 1/4 of an inch smaller, just so that it fits inside and there's just very little overlap here, very little. And you'll need, for me, that ended up being, oh, this, is this the one? Okay, I think it is. It ended up being 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 for this size envelope that I have, but it was less than 1/4 of an inch. But 2 of them, I'm actually going to add 1/2 an inch. And the reason I'm doing it is because I'm using just paper, I think it's like 27-pound paper. I'm not using a heavy scrapbooking paper type of thing. So if you are using something that's heavy, you don't need to do the 2 that are added on. And the reason I'm adding on to it is because I want to fold this down to make a sort of a better reinforced place where you're going to be putting your cards in and out on the pocket. So I hope that wasn't too confusing, but that's what I'm doing for the ones that are in the middle. So I'm going to do the ones that are in the middle, and I'm going to fold down probably like that 1/2 inch. I'm folding that down about a 1/2 inch. There we go. Just so it sits in here, and you can kind of see that little pocket area there. And I'm going to glue it down, and it'll be reinforced then. Now you may not even feel the need to reinforce it, that's up to you, but for this pocket, for the 2 middle sections, the pocket's going to come in this way. And so let me go ahead and do the back one. And well, I'll just finish out this one here, put in a little bit, and I think I'm going to put in just a little tiny circle punch, just a tiny one, thumb notch. I'm sorry, put a little thumb notch in here, just a little one, just to give the hint that that's a pocket. And we'll get this glued in. Going to glue on the 3 sides here. Like so. And I'm just going to glue her down inside. I'm not worrying about this part of the envelope. I'm just gluing right over it, just like so. All right, so let me do the back side, and I'll be right back. So I have the 2 middle pockets all finished, all ready to go. I'm going to work on this front part. This is the part that's going to be showing when you get it all closed. This is kind of the front, I guess you would call it. And I'm going to work on this part. What I've done is I kind of like to put something on here on the front that is eye-catching. And I've chosen this here for the pocket, and we're going to be putting on a triangular pocket like this one here has, triangular little pocket like that. And the first thing I do is I have cut out, and I'm going to mount it onto cardstock because I want it to be heavy. And so I have made a square that is about a 1/2 inch, approximately a 1/2 inch smaller than the front of my envelope. That's about where this is at. And once I do that, I am going to put in a slant. Now I know some people like it from corner to corner, and that's fine. I do mine a little differently, and the main reason being that unless I'm sewing it in, I feel that the glue up here if it's right at the corner, can sometimes work itself off a little bit and get worn. So that's kind of my concern. But I also want more of this flower to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line that is about 3/4 of an inch this way and 3/4 of an inch up like that. And I'm going to cut it off at that line. And I've chosen sort of a plain background to set it up against, like so. And I chose this for the cover so it could coordinate with that a little bit. So this is the only place that I really probably did some planning with. The other sheets of paper, I just cut them up because I liked the design, I liked the papers, I felt they all went together. I wasn't really too fussy about where I glued what. So I will just quickly glue this one in right here for that background. And then we'll glue in the pocket there. Now you can totally sew this on. You can sew all the way around on these envelopes. Because if you notice, we are not using, let me just put this in here, we're not using the inside of the original envelope for a pocket. Okay, and here's the pocket. And we're just going to glue right up here, right along this side, and right along this side. Usually put like a good sized dot at these different corners, so there's plenty of glue there. And where you place it is up to you, but I'm going to place it right along the line of the paper I just got done gluing down. And so there's this pocket, which this will come over, and there you be. All right, so everything else then, I just pick out papers the way I like them. The other 4 pockets are going to be on the side. All right, so the 2 in the middle are approached from the top, but the other ones are going to be on the side, like so. Now the one in the back, and we probably should get taken care of that one too. The one that's in the once you close it up this way, the one that pocket that goes in here is going to need to have the button on it. The little button to bring the string around and go around it. So let's see. Let me just see which one I will do for that one. I think I'll just go ahead and do this one. So this pocket then, let's just put that out there. This pocket is going to be folded under a little bit, like a good 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more, something like that. All right, just like this. And then to make up for that spot, I've gotten a strip that's about 2 inches by 5 1/4, which will be glued right up in here, and that can serve as let me choose a different color. Yeah, so that can take up that white spot in there, or you could just, you know, distress it if you wanted to. You could do that too. I am just going to go ahead and glue down a little piece just like that. Now you're going to have to put your button, and the button will go in the middle, just in this vicinity. This is, make sure it's in the middle of your piece, but somewhere in that area. And to make it, I went ahead and I used my circle punch for a decorative piece of paper, and then for the to put behind it, you'll need to put some cardstock behind it to make it firm. I usually put in a hole first, and then I line up my hole punch and try to put that little hole in the middle the best I can. Okay, and then I glue these two together. Just like that. And then I can come back in and put in the hole like that. So there is the little button done. Very easy peasy. And now we'll have to find the middle of this. And this looks pretty good. You know, if it's not perfect, that's okay. All right, so I see that my hole punch is not going to go down all the way, so I'm going to get my awl and put in there. And this way, I can put a hole in there. There we go. And put in my little brad, like so. Or however it is that you like to put in your little buttons. And this is a teeny brad, I'll tell you. It's little. Oh my. There you go. And then I'm going to put a little extra paper, I believe, right over that. Or maybe I'll put in a piece of tape, because I want to make sure that it's reinforced there a little bit and everything, so that it stays in very well. Extra glue. Oh yes, I am the glue queen. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And that way our ephemera won't get hung up on it, and it also gives a little bit more strength to that particular area. So that is finished, and we will put in our pocket. And oh, we put our pocket. Oh, I put the pocket in the wrong way. Okay, the pocket goes in this way. Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. So we need to put this up here. You know, I hope you don't think I didn't do some planning to make this video, because I did. I did sit there and kind of walk through stuff. Oh, yes, yes. Sometimes you just get into the video and then you kind of lose your train of thought. Okay, it's got to go on the other end. So that's what you have to make sure, is that this pocket, I thought something felt a little off when I was doing that. So you got to make sure that your pocket is facing this way. And the reason is that when you close up your folder and go like this, well, then you've also secured this piece of ephemera as well. So look at the front, you turn it over, you want the pocket going that way. That's what you want. Okay. So yes, this is a craft along, and sometimes these things happen. All right. Then we're just going to glue that pocket in like we do other pockets. All right. So here then is our pocket all ready to go, and it comes around like that. So it closes in this ephemera. All right. So those are the four critical parts to get everything correct as far as directions go. Everything else can be up to you. You know, I'm putting my pockets in, you know, on the sides like this, but you might, you know, you might want to put a pocket down here, put in your paper, and put one that comes down like this. You might want to put another triangular pocket in there. Really, that is totally up to you. This is just the way that I am going to do. And in fact, what I'll just do is stop here with this one, because everything else that I've done, you pretty well can see in the one that I finished. So it goes like this. We've got this one on the side, so this one has to be this way. But, you know, I made this one on the side over here, and I made this one over here on this side. It's just, you can do whatever you want with the pockets. Okay, whatever it is. So that is basically how I put that little thing together. This is going to fit into the little paper bag ephemera holder that I've created here. And so we'll be doing a flip through of everything, and I've done for this pretty soon. And so subscribe and join me for that. Thanks for watching and being patient with me. Talk to you later. Bye.